Hello, 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 everybody. It's me again once more. Happy New Year. You know, I would keep telling you Happy New Year. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for subscribing. My name is Priscilla Kuma. If you're new here, please subscribe to my channel. I'm a registered nurse. I come from Ghana and I work as an RN in New York State, USA. And I have a fellow Ghanaian here. She's doing something great and I cannot wait for her to share it with you all. Also, I double as a lead consultant for USRN Pathway Consult. If you're a registered nurse, midwife, psychiatry nurse who wants to work in USA and you don't know where to start the paperwork from and you are all confused, you know I got you covered. There are so many people who are enrolled with us and they are impressed with the process so far. So reach out to us on www.usrnpathwayconsult.com and we'll get back to you within 24 hours and start the process for you. Thank you very much, Chef Kuku. I don't want to waste much of your time. Thanks for making time out of your busy schedule to be here with me today. Kindly introduce yourself to my viewers.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Kukwa Yemepe, and I'm from Ghana, but I've been in the U.S. about going on 28 years, I think. I came to do undergrad and then stayed because my family was here. So I've been here a really long time. But
Yes, you have.
yeah,
28. And you come from the Volta region of Ghana, correct?
my dad is from the Volta region, and my mom is from Accra and Cape Coast.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And so you've been here since after college. What have you been up to till this point?
So now, a lot of different jobs, mostly in higher education. So I've been working in student life and student affairs since about 2001. So a year ago, I decided I was going to go full time doing catering, which I had been doing anyway. So I've been cooking pretty much probably since I was 9 or 10. But then since we came to the US, my mom and I were catering different parties and, just stuff on the side to kind of make ends meet. So a year ago, I left higher ed and decided, okay, I'm going to try this out full time and not have another job.
Catering service. So you like doing house parties and all, and then you decided to you have like a restaurant. What do you have? Like a place someone can go to? I know you have a cooking class going on. You have a
Yep.
website and everything. You want to tell us a little bit more about that and how it's been going so far?
Sure. So 2021, so 2021
Mm-hmm.
October was when I opened. So I've had a full year. I have a stall at the Ithaca Farmers Market, and that basically runs Saturdays and Sundays. We're usually there Saturdays in April and then most of the Sundays until October.
Okay.
So that's where you can find us. Right now, we don't have an actual storefront. So you can't find us any other time except if you book a catering or if you book a cooking class, which usually happens in Ithaca or in Cortland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what dishes do you make? Is it just strictly Ghanaian dish, or is it a general African cuisine? What do you do?
Mostly Ghanaian dishes. I do one Ethiopian dish called alicha, and I make a goosey soup, which kind of crosses over to the Nigerian side
Yeah.
a little bit, but everything else is from Ghana.
Okay. And do you have anybody helping you? Are you the only one who makes the cooking? Do you serve it? Do people come and sit down and eat?
Yeah, so I do all the cooking myself, but my partner helps me in the kitchen with the chopping and the blending and that kind of stuff. When people come to the market, they have myself and one other helper sell the food. So I take the money, they serve them, they can sit anywhere in the pavilion or they can take the food to go. Most people choose to sit around if the weather is nice.
Mhm.
Otherwise, people just take the food to go.
Okay. So the
Yeah.
cooking class, people sign up to come and you help them teach them how to make African cuisine.
Yes. So the cooking classes are strictly West African dishes that I am I think I've perfected.
Mhm.
Everybody has their approach to cooking.
Yeah.
So my approach is what I share. So people sign up for class online and then they either sign up for me to meet them online through Zoom or Google Meet, or they come to my home in Cortland, or they come to Ithaca to the kitchen where I work, or I go to their home. So there are many ways to access the cooking classes. And I think that's been one of the benefits for us, is that we're so versatile that people are like, oh, okay, I can do it in 4 different ways. And if last night I had a class with people in Atlanta. Yeah. So, it's just like, because everything is online now, it's made it so much easier for people to access people all over, all over the world. So we've kind of spread it out so people can access us, a lot of different ways. But the market opens in April, ends in December. So in the meantime, it's just catering and cooking classes. So people are missing us. I got a text last night saying, "Hey, we missed you. Can you do a cooking class with us?" So that's how people are accessing us. It's through the classes right now.
Okay, so if I heard you correctly, you said it in 2021. Was that not still mid of COVID, or how did you? Yeah,
Yeah. So it was middle, well, kind of.
kind of. Mm-hmm.
We had our vaccines and we thought we were, doing really well. And then we got hit again. But when I opened, I did not open at the market. I opened just strictly catering and cooking classes, and we wore our masks while we were doing the cooking classes. And then with catering, I don't serve. So I just deliver, and I kept my mask on, delivered the meal, and then I left. So we kind of made it through to April, and then we opened outside in April. And because everything's outside, nobody wore a mask. And then I got sick in May. And I was like, oh, wait, I really need to go back to wearing a mask. So we've just kind of been, negotiating that space of wearing it, not wearing it, getting sick, getting better, So, I mean, you're the RN, so it's here to stay, and we just have to manage it, right? At this
Yes,
point.
we have. So how do you get your supplies? Because I know some of the things are very authentic. You need to go to like Africa to get them. So where do you get everything to make cooking possible for you?
So for the most part, the main ingredients are gotten from I get from Rochester at the Restaurant Depot. But I love the store. It has everything I need, except of obviously the specialty ingredients like the agusi seed. I use grains of salim, wintia for my sobolo. So those things I import. So the egusi comes from either Maryland or Boston from a wholesale store there. My huintia comes from Ghana directly. Every time someone is coming, I just send, about 10 to 20 pounds with them. They'll bring it. So that's where I get that. I use Cameroonian hot pepper instead of the red pepper that we have in Ghana. And that I also import. I don't use percocet, but if I want percocet, I usually get it also straight from Ghana. In the sobolo, I just have ginger. The hibiscus flowers come from Restaurant Depot as well. They have I think a 5-pound bag of the flowers. So I get those from there. Egusi, okra, imomi, peanut stew or peanut soup, benkwan, palm nut soup, jollof, red. So those are all things that we can find, luckily for us, right?
Yeah.
Palm oil I get from Boston if I'm going to use palm oil. If I need yam, I get from the local African market in Syracuse.
That was gonna be my next question. That what are the things you make? What is on the menu? Right? You said jollof.
Yeah.
I bet find that it's palm nut soup, peanut butter soup, or peanut butter stew, okra stew. You make sobolo drinks and any African snacks that you make.
No, I don't bake, and mostly the kitchen that we work at is billed by hour. So certain dishes take longer, and baking is one thing that I'm not very good at. So it just takes me twice as long to make anything. I developed a sort of dessert slash snack from, do you know what eba is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Eba from Nigeria.
Yes. So eba is Gary with salt and water, right?
Yes.
And so I
I
switched
spent
it up.
10 years of my life in Nigeria, so I speak Yoruba.
Oh, you
So I
do?
know
That's
about
awesome.
very well. Yes. I make about home. So
So I took eba I think 3 years ago. Somebody said, make a brand new dessert. So I took eba and then I used cane sugar
okay.
and water and made small balls.
Okay.
And then I created a hibiscus syrup
Mm.
and I sprinkled it over it. So it became red eba balls. So that's the snack that we've been advertising to folks who want something different, because then they get to try the eba, which usually they wouldn't, because eba is not part of my menu.
Yeah.
It just takes longer to make, everybody to get their own ball, So most of my dishes are served with rice, unless it's catering and they want yam or they want plantains or anything special.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you spice your setup. Your setup, you use the African fabric, the fan, the things. Where do you order those from as well? I'll be looking on your website. I did my research.
You did your research.
I did.
So the fabric we got from Maryland. My cousin is in Colombia, and so we visited her. She took us shopping in DC, and we got all our fabric. We made our aprons by hand in house. The tablecloths were all done by my mom. So everything kind of stays in just stays in the family. It's just mostly because we don't have a lot of help. I have one friend who's a seamstress that has helped us out with making the aprons for like Christmas and Valentine's Day and those kinds of holidays to sell. But for the most part, everything that we use is made by us.
Wow. So whilst doing my research, I found out that were you captured in a newspaper or some, I don't know, I'm not sure whether it's New York Times, you were in some paper, they interviewed you or wrote a little thin article about you. Do you want to speak to that?
I don't know, because there are a lot. So
A lot. Yeah, I saw that
there are
you're
a lot
captured in
from
an article.
Ohio. So we did a lot of interviews in Ohio when we first so let me back up a little bit. So 6 years ago, this past October, we opened in Ohio. So my mom and I opened a counter, at a grocery store. So we were serving food there. We would cook in the kitchen, we'd bring it to the counter, and we would serve once a week.
Okay.
So we did that for 2 years, and then I had an accident, and so I shut down the operation. And then I moved to New York because I took a job back doing the higher education stuff again. And so that moved me to New York, and then I started catering on the side after I started walking again. But I wasn't walking for about 3 months, and you can't cook if you can't stand.
Walk. Yeah.
It was just really,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate. So I shut down, and so the New York business feels brand new, but it's not really brand new, because we've had quite a bit of time to develop the website and the brand. It's about 6 years old.
Yeah. So we're talking about the kitchen. We still haven't mentioned the name, but I'm going to attach all the links to the website in my description box. You can go to the website. But it's for Asempe Kitchen, right?
Asempe Kitchen, yes.
So what does the Asempe mean, or what does it stand for those who don't know?
So Asempe means curiosity or nosiness. So when I was growing up, the word was used to describe someone who was nosy, always wanting to know what was going on, being in adult people's business. So I was that kid. I was that little, what do you say? Was
Inquisitive kid.
Inquisitive kid. So when we first decided we were gonna start the company, we were throwing around names. At first, I thought maybe I'd name it after my grandmother. But later on, I was like, you know, that is a really good phrase, because it gets a bad rap, but it really is about curiosity. You know,
Mhm.
it's being inquisitive and wanting to know more.
More.
That's why we named it Asempe Kitchen, because it's food that's different.
Yeah,
Right?
you're trying.
It's
You're
just
curious to
you're trying
mix
to,
this and see what will
yeah,
come out when you mix those
yeah.
two products. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and you want people to try new things, and you want people to experiment. That's why I teach the cooking classes, you
Mhm.
know, so encourage people to try something new, either by cooking or by eating it, you know. So that's how come the name came to be Asempe Kitchen.
Okay. So, what challenges have you faced on this journey of owning a kitchen and running it? What are some of the biggest challenges? Not getting supply is an obvious one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the biggest for me has been finding a space. So I, you know, we cook out of two kitchens right now. One kitchen is in Ithaca and one kitchen is in Cortland,
Yeah.
but none of them have storage. So I have
Mm.
to load my van with all my pots, all my ingredients, and then drive 30 minutes to the kitchen, cook, go and serve, come back, wash the dishes, drive home with everything, and unload the car. So that has been the ongoing challenge, is finding a space where it's just mine, or I'm sharing it but I have storage and I can leave everything behind, just lock the door, go home, come back, do the cooking without having everything back and forth. So that's my biggest challenge. The supply chain issues, they affected everybody. um the other big challenge is finding help. So I'm sure you know that most industries have lost a lot of workers, and for better or worse, people have moved on and found other things to do with their lives, have found meaning in other ways that are not jobs, you know. So I struggled this past year with finding workers. So I spent a lot of time, you know, help, getting help from my partner and my best friend, and I was only able to hire two people, and they also had full-time jobs.
Mm.
So I was only able to, get them my once a month, maybe twice a month. So that's been my those three are my biggest challenges. I'm still at that door of just, I really need to launch. I need to get bigger, but in order to do that, I need workers, and in
Mm.
order to do that, I need my own space.
Space. Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Mm. Wow.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. So, how often do you go back to Ghana? And is Ghana know you're doing this great stuff out here representing Ghana?
So I was in Ghana in March, but I had not been in almost 10 years. So it had been a really long time. 10 years ago I was in Ghana, and the the person I was dating had an accident and died. And so I left Ghana very heartbroken and had not been back. So it was just a really rough experience. It was a car accident. Nobody tried to save him. It was just awful. So my experience of that kind of tainted my Ghana experience. So this past year, 2022, was the first time I went back since that incident. And you know, it felt the same. It was there, it was welcoming. It just, like, people are still welcoming. The food is still great. It was great to be back in my language, like 24/7. The music, just so I really, it's almost like I felt healed. It's just like, okay, welcome home. Yes, this happened. You've got time to heal. You've got your grief period. It will come and go, as you know. But Donna's always here, so it just felt really good to be back. So we're going back in 2 months. Actually, we just bought our ticket. So we're going back March. And hopefully this time I'll get to talk to some other chefs. I was in and out in March when I was there because my grandmother had passed 2 years ago and we were just doing her service. So I was not able to explore, the breadth of Ghanaian cooking and other, because there's so many people on Instagram right now who are doing Ghanaian cooking.
So many
In
restaurants open in Accra.
Yes. So that's my goal, is to try and eat as many places as possible, talk to people, get connected, and hopefully be able to go back at least once a year. So
Yes. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. Nice hanging out with you. So, final question before I let you go. What advice do you have for somebody you went to school, you were in a professional line, a 9 to 5 job, and made a switch of owning your own business, starting something new? Somebody watching might be interested in starting something new, but they are afraid of losing that 9 to 5 and being an entrepreneur. Do you have any advice to give to anybody who wants to toe this path of doing anything at all, not just cooking?
Yeah. So I think my biggest advice would be follow your heart. So if this has been something that is like laying heavy on your heart, you're like, I really want to do some art. I really want to sell my cards. I want to, you know, braid hair,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that you want to do full time, start doing it part time, right? So it's going to be a lot of work. That part I cannot underscore enough, right? It's going to be a lot of work, and you have to do them side by side as much as possible until you can fully sustain yourself doing that alone. And it might take some time. I mean, my first 2 years after I fell, I could not sustain it. There was no way. And so you have to be ready to be able to sustain yourself and the business full time before you can leave your 9 to 5. So the comfort of the 9 to 5 is very alluring, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would all love to have a paycheck that's very steady, that has insurance,
Yeah.
dental, vision, all of that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if your heart really is calling you to do something else, then I would say start that something else on the side first. Don't quit yet. And then see if it's viable, sustainable, and then take a leap. But it is really a leap of faith, right? So I finished off last year. I was able to pay some bills, but I didn't really make that much money at the end of the year. So I'm still in that process. Okay. I'm not making what I was making at my 9 to 5 still, but I'm happier, I'm healthier, and I'm doing something that I really love, and I'm able to share with other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at it.
Wow. Thank you very much for taking time and coming on my channel and sharing this process. I hope it inspires somebody to do something new now. It's a new year. You still have a lot of months ahead of you. Start now so that by December you look back and thank God that you did. I'm really grateful and hoping that next time I'll pass by your kitchen. We'll do
Yes.
a real tour of the place and what you do and how everything is done. And I'll share that with my viewers as well. I'm really grateful and have a good evening.
Thank you, Priscilla. Nice to see you
Nice
again.
to see you too.